one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call to order. All commissioners are present. We do have some presentations to make. Employees' years of service recognition. First one is Rachel Carrico with 10 years of service. Rachel.
Hey, nice.
Yay, Rachel.
And then we have Nancy Taylor with 10 years of service. Nancy,
Thank you.
and then we have Kathleen X with 15 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can have chairs.
Take advantage.
There's some seats up front.
Item 5.
I make a motion to approve item number 5 on our agenda. Second.
Motion by Commissioner Arnold, second by Commissioner Warren to approve item 5 on the agenda, to approve the minutes of the June 22nd meeting. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 6.
I'll make a motion to approve item number 6 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 6 on the agenda. Motion to approve to ratify the cash disbursements, electronic payments. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 7 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 7 on the agenda to approve the following seminar requests and our payments for seminars. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 8.
Make a motion to approve item number 8 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 8 on the agenda to acknowledge and ratify the transfer of Jacqueline Fancher from the full-time union position of conference officer to the full-time union position of court liaison conference officer. Questions or comments?
Is that a new position, or what is that?
No, it's an existing position. All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 9 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 9 on the agenda, to acknowledge the appointment of George Geiser of Camp Hill to the Susquehanna County Task Force, effective July 14th. Questions or comments? Yes.
I'd like to know, what is that, can you explain what that task force is?
It's the
What
drug
he's
task
going to be
force.
doing, huh?
It's the drug task force, and that's all I can alleviate at this time.
You can't give more information on it?
No, because they're all undercover people.
Undercover? Even though his name is released, he's an
Yeah.
undercover guy?
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 10.
Make a motion to approve item number 10 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to acknowledge the transfer of Sandra Henry from the full-time union position First Deputy Clerk of Courts to the full-time union position Second Deputy Treasurer at $10.60 per hour, per the recommendation of Jason Moore. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 11 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold to approve item 11 on the agenda, approve the hiring of Sarah Proof, Montrose, to the full-time union position of field appraiser training. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. So carried. Item 12.
Make a motion to approve item number 12 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 12 on the agenda, to ratify and acknowledge the hiring of Damian Bishop of Binghamton to the open part-time position of corrections officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 13 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 13 on the agenda, to approve the transfer of Pamela Larrabee from Kingsley from part-time correction officer to the full-time corrections officer. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye. Make a motion to approve item number 14 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 14 on the agenda, accept the regret the resignation of Ariel Hillard at the jail effective July 15th. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 15.
Make a motion to approve item number 15 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 15 on the agenda, to accept the regret the resignation of Liza Holly from the jail. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. Item 16.
Make a motion to approve item number 16 on the agenda with the exception of, and accept, to ratify the termination of.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 16 on the agenda, to ratify the termination of Emily Welch from the jail. Questions or comments? Yes.
We have like 3 people here, looks like they're all women,
Mhm.
and it means they're what, correction officers? It doesn't say here, what are they?
I believe the one was, yeah, I believe they're all corrections officers.
Why don't you include that so we know exactly what they are? That would be helpful, I think. You got 3 of them corrections officers, 2 resigned,
Mhm.
and 1 is terminated
Mhm.
in the past 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So what do you have now, 3 openings?
Well, most of these positions were temporary positions.
So you don't have any openings for the,
No, we had one full-time opening and that was replaced.
okay, so right now there's no openings for the women? Because they just do women, the women COs?
No,
They can also work with the men?
they can work both sides.
They do? Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Item 17.
Make a motion to approve item number 17 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 17, to ratify the appointment by Treasurer Bendick,
No?
the hiring of Teresa McNamara, I'm sorry, Treasurer Miller, sorry. She used to work for 5 years. Treasurer Miller, the hiring of Teresa McNamara from Friendsville for the temporary part-time doe permits. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve item number 18 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 18, to ratify the appointment by Treasurer Miller, hiring of Lisa McVeigh of Halsted for the temporary part-time for doe permits. Questions or comments?
Can you explain, what is DOE? Is that PennDOT, or what is that?
No, it's antlerless deer.
Antlers deer.
It's doe.
Oh, for
Actual
for
doe.
deer. Oh, I
Yes,
see.
yes.
Oh, we need for Joe.
For doe, yes. Doe deer.
Oh.
Any other
Those
questions?
of us who are not hunters have no concept of that. But this is only temporary then?
Yes.
All in favor?
I make a motion to approve item number 19 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 19 on the agenda, to ratify the appointment by Jason Miller, the hiring of Sarah Smith of Windsor, again for the part-time doe permits. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 20.
I make a motion to approve item number 20 is listed on the agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 20, to ratify the appointment by Treasurer Jason Miller, the hiring of Sharon Stockholm of Montrose for the temporary doe permits. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve item number 21 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 21 on the agenda, sign the purchase of service agreements between Susquehanna County Services for Children and Youth and George Junior Republic Preventative Aftercare out of Grove City. Questions or comments?
Have you been with this group already, or is this a new
Yes.
group? Because I don't recall that name, but you've had them, okay.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
Item 22.
make a motion to approve item number 22 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 22 on the agenda, to sign the purchase of service agreement between Susquehanna County Services for Children and Youth and EIHAB Human Services Incorporated in Tunkhannock. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried.
Make a motion to approve item number 23 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to sign the purchase service agreement between Susquehanna County Services for Children and Youth and the Youth Services Agency for PA Jim Thornton. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 24.
Make a motion to approve item number 24 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 24 on the agenda to sign the purchase of service agreement between Susquehanna County Services for Children and Youth and Institute for Human Resources Services Incorporated in Kingston. Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
So carried. Item 25.
Make a motion to approve item number 25 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 25 on the agenda to ratify the following collective bargaining agreements between the County of Susquehanna and Teamsters Local 229, as so stated. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. So carried. Item 26.
Make a motion to approve item number 26 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, second by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 26 on the agenda to authorize the Commissioners to sign the Municipal Waste Planning Grant Agreement under Section 901, Act 101 between PA Department of Environmental Protection and Susquehanna County.
What does that include?
I'll explain it in a minute.
This was the, I'm trying to think, this was the solid waste plan that we had
Right.
done. And advertising and all of the ads and everything, we're getting reimbursed for our solid waste plan. It needs to be updated every so often
The solid waste plan we have here in Montrose?
Yes.
in the county.
Yeah, every county has to have one.
So this has nothing to do with the,
No.
oh, you already finished my sentence, that's cool.
So what is
Okay.
that?
Thank you.
So what is the solid waste, where is it coming from? When you say it's for the county, what's
It's
solid
the
waste?
solid waste that's generated in this county, where it goes to.
I know, but it's generated from where?
Her house.
Huh? What?
Do you have recycling pickup?
Yeah, so you're talking about that?
So the recycling pickup and the solid waste, wherever it goes to, if it has to go to the landfill or wherever it goes, we have a solid waste plan that designates where it goes, how many pounds go, how many pounds leave the county, where it goes to.
And you've had this now for years?
Oh, absolutely.
Can we get a copy of that solid waste plan?
Yeah, you can request a copy.
Request a copy of that, see where it goes, what you're talking about. So it's just recycling and whatever comes out of the courthouse or courthouse buildings?
The whole county.
The whole county, your house, if you
It's not
put
just-
garbage out and recycling and all of that, everything.
Is it going to any new places or just the old places it's been?
Just the old places.
Do you know
that
what landfills you're using at this point?
I couldn't tell you in the thing. Well, I know the several that we're using was Taylor and Keystone.
Keystone.
I know recycling was our facility, but there's also recycling going to Scranton and also into Appalachian.
Appalachian too?
Is that our county?
Appalachian, I think is what, New York, what is that?
Yes.
New York.
Isn't that like Oklahoma County?
Any other questions? Yes.
I'm curious as to the expense of it for the revision. What's involved in the revision that would make it, and the updating that would make it $30,000?
No, we have to hire a consultant, and they have to have the degrees and certifications to create the plan, and that's what you're paying for. And they have to do the research and compile all the information, put the plan together, and hold the meetings and everything else.
So you're just getting that underway now, is what it looks like?
No, this is done, we're just filing to get reimbursement for it.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 27.
I make a motion to approve item number 27 is listed on our agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Warren, seconded by Commissioner Arnold, to approve item 27 on the agenda, to amend the following appointments to the Susquehanna County Agricultural Land Preservation Board as follows, as listed. Questions or comments? All in favor? Aye. At this time, we will take and move to public comment.
Not too close, Fair. My name is Felicia Murray. I live in New Milford Borough. I have a signed petition from Susquehanna about the toxic waste incinerator. And we, the undersigned, ask the county commissioners of Susquehanna County to act immediately to protect the health and air quality of county residents by drafting and passing a legally defensible air ordinance. We request the county to be responsible for monitoring and enforcing in light of increasing industry interest in our county, like the industrial incinerator Tyler Corners plans to build in New Milford. So I want to present my petition from Susquehanna.
All right, thank you.
How many names on that?
Not too many, 30. But I plan on getting more.
Any other,
I have 271
okay.
signatures to add to her petition.
You want to pass this forward? We'll take this.
Can we add some more?
We have 53 signatures for the same request.
Any other public comment?
Will what I request on that petition,
It'll be reviewed.
and how long will the review take, and what's the process on your end?
Our process on our end is to look at our legal obligations and what we can do. We'll review it with planning and with the solicitor and go from there.
And how does the public know if we've gotten the county
We'll respond at the next meeting.
at the next meeting?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
I have 15 more, I just started yesterday.
Okay?
15 more trucks,
Okay?
and there will be more.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Hold on, I got one. Are there, okay, my name is Ruth Ralston, I'm from the Gibson area, Ruth Ralston. Are there any proposals / permits pertaining to Tyler Corners LC on that property?
No.
Not at this point? Okay, and if not, how would we be notified if that ever happens?
Well, and I guess Mary Ann had the last conversation with them, so why don't you tell them what they've told you?
I had a conversation on June 27th, after I wrote on their website, as I believe Vera did and probably everybody else in this room. They said that they've had no pre-application meetings with DEP. They only had a meeting asking questions, and they have to fill out a questionnaire. They have committed to the property, and I think it's more than an option now. I think that they have a deposit or escrow on the property. Let me see. So they have not, they said they're just in the stages of looking into putting an incinerator, that there are no plans. This was an investor that I spoke to, and
Can you name the investor?
I think it was in one of the emails that went around, Tom Donato.
Resides where?
I don't know where he resides, I'm sorry.
Anybody else besides Tom you talked to?
No, yesterday I wrote another message on their website, and he got back to me on Monday, said he would call me back yesterday, and he said that I had very specific questions, as did many people in Susquehanna County, and they would be releasing a press release in a couple of days to get back to everyone at the same time. So I'm expecting before the end of the week that will be coming out. And that's all I have.
Mary Ann, do you know how, would it be in the newspaper, or?
I don't know, I'm sorry.
I'd like to mention that I've gone door to door and there's nobody that's for this. Everybody's against it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gary Stieber, Gibson Township. Given the history of municipal waste incinerators in the United States, I think it can be factually proven that they have no environmental, they have a huge environmental impact. It's negative. Any economic benefits that would be purported to arrive from such an operation would be far outweighed by the degradation of the air and water quality in this county, which is beyond precious. I think that any economic value is completely suborned to the devastating impact of the environment, and I would sincerely hope that you take that as your first and foremost regulation when you consider their application. The history of this is negative. There is nowhere where this, you can go to Japan, you can go to the western states, you can go to the East Coast, you can go to Norway, Finland, Europe, that everywhere that this has been proposed and or accepted and put into use, it has had a devastating impact. It would benefit Susquehanna County in no way, shape, manner, or form. Thank you.
And I'm in Harford County, Harford Township. And I think that our precious economy that's based on rural agriculture, both dairying and crops, and as well as our tourist industry, which we have expanded. We have Elk Mountain nearby, ski resorts, and we have a lot of bed and breakfasts and
Camps.
And camps, yes.
Expensive camps.
And I feel very strongly that this air is a precious commodity that we cannot replace. Having grown up in Manhattan and New Jersey, I can tell you that's the truth. But I really feel very strongly when I read the guide for the commissioners that said you care about our health and welfare, it's actually printed in there as a first priority, that this is certainly connected to that. I will add that in China, a very repressive authoritarian government, for anyone to stick their head up is amazing. Well, within a 5.5-kilometer area, the people were so irate at the proposed incineration plant that was going there, and the air quality there is often very bad, that they actually turned over police cars and things. That's unheard of in China for human rights. So if we are not like China, thank goodness we have a voice. And the voices here are saying that that incinerator is not a welcome neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Just in the back.
Yeah, my name is Paul Kelly. I live probably 3/4 of a mile from the proposed site. And if the incinerator is built, I wouldn't intend to stay there and live there. I would be fearful for my health. And I just want to, let you people know that you should protect your citizens.
Appreciate
foremost.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Mark Oakley from New Milford Township. I'm just saying that obviously these meetings have a lot more interest right now. So I think the meeting should be at a more convenient time. You can move the commissioner meeting, the township later in the afternoon, planning commission later in the afternoon. So I was wondering if there's any chance.
Well, unfortunately, our meetings are set by the county code, which is set by legislation in Harrisburg.
Okay.
That's unfortunate. That's one thing I said when I first ran, is why are the meetings not at night somewhere people can attend? Yeah. Unfortunately, legislation dictates when they have to be.
Okay, thank you.
Could there be a special meeting called in future?
We cannot have an official commissioners meeting outside the business day.
So then you can have a special meeting, then what would you call a special meeting?
We can't have anything that would conduct any business.
So then have a meeting with no business, just to hear the people's voice, like a town hall meeting?
We could do that.
Could you do that? And it would be after hours, so other people can come who work full-time or part-time?
Any other comment?
My name is Cindy Guanana, and I live in the Gibson borough. And I just want to say that I have enjoyed living up here in a very pristine area. I'm from California, I'm from Los Angeles originally, and aware of what hazardous air does to people and their health. With the concerns with this incinerator, what it will do to the area, devastating our water and our land, it's also going to harm all of our farms, the chickens, the eggs, the meat,
Dairy.
anything, the dairies. That's our way of life for decades up here. These folks have been living. That would be completely devastated. I can't see why anything like this would be of any use up here at all. You'd be taking, and if you were to move out, you couldn't get anything for your property. I mean, if this is coming in and you're going to leave, how do you sell your home? You're talking about the welfare of your children, the future of your kids. Everybody will have to be forced to move out, and how many people would be able to be stuck here, to die here? So please consider that, please. Thank you.
I just want to ask that, the one I gave you from Susquehanna, if you use that part of the petition, yes, if you can write Susquehanna, because the requests are, we had to change a little bit of it last night, but that's the request that we are asking of the commissioners to instate. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruth Ralston. Again, I'm from the Gibson area. And I think you can hear from the majority that it's going to affect a lot of people in a negative way. So it's like the majority that comes in are going to suffer, and it's going to impact the environment, the population, the animals, and everybody, including us. So we're asking you, like, how are you going to help us? And I know you're working very hard, Mr. Hall, and we appreciate what you're doing. And we know, I'd also like to know, Mary Ann, how you're going to assist him, because, you know, you're going to be taking over again to assist him or whatever. And we want to know what you're going to do to help us, and how is this all going to work out?
Well, we're going to do everything we can. First of all, our comprehensive plan that we do have, states right in there that, you know, we want environmentally friendly businesses that are here. So, you know, that's already part of the plan that we have. Yes, we want business growth, we want economic development, but we also, part of the plan, you know, the second priority was that, you know, that it's environmentally friendly. So we will continue to look at all the avenues we can.
Yeah.
First of all, to find out what is actually going on, because as Mary Ann has said, we don't have anything from them, or even anything as far as that this is exactly what we're going to do.
Right.
So as I tried to get information and couldn't get any information, then I had Mary Ann work on sending emails to try and get information. And luckily, you know, I don't know if that threw them off guard because they didn't know her name. They called and talked to her. But then again, at the second phone conversation, they were reluctant, I would say, to give her any information. So we will continue to research, find out what's going on, look at all the avenues to see what we can do.
Right, and I was also saying, since we're sitting here and we're all together and we're in one regard that we don't want this, what can we do, or how can we help you to prevent this from ever happening again? So our children's children don't have to have the same fight. And I think that's a very specific issue, because I know we're fighting, you know, we're not totally, you know, we don't want this as it is as a group, but we also don't want to have this fight again, and we don't want our children's children to have this fight. So we're asking you, what could you do for the future to help us not to have to go through the same situation? That's what we're looking at.
Well, you know, and to try and answer that for you, part of the issue with this is as many of the rules that are there to try and help us, there's as many rules there that hinder us at the same time. So, and anything that you do, you know, when you start looking at this, you have to be careful that although you're trying to take care of one issue, that it doesn't look that you're trying to discriminate against that industry, because that's illegal. So I didn't write the laws, I didn't write the rules. You know, I may not agree with them all, but they're there and we have to work through them.
Right.
You know, I'll give you the perfect example of, and some of you that have been here for quite a while remember the issue that came up with the Lincott landfill. The Lincott landfill, of course, is contaminated, and we've been working on that for I don't even know how many years now, but more than we'd like to talk about. But the waste company that had that landfill requested and permitted to take and get that landfill expanded. So the commissioners at the time, of course, thought they were doing the best thing they could, jumped on the bandwagon, hired an attorney, spent over $300,000 trying to fight it, and lost. Now, the only thing that stopped that from coming was the groups like Rescue and the public that did the outcry to DEP and EPA that ended up finally stopping that expansion of that landfill.
Well, I guess I think that's what we're asking, like, what can we do right now to assist you, because we're all working together, and, you know, if you could give us any good options or ideas, something we could take home with us, we could start working out right away.
Well, part of the issue is that we have is trying to gain the facts. It's, you know, part of the issue that we have is people don't come to us and tell us exactly what's going on. Businesses don't come. Although this business came in the beginning of April and said, hey, we're looking at your area, there was no other commitment other than, hey, we're just looking, you know, who's who in the area. Once they decided to do something, if they have decided, you know, they're not in contact with us, and even when we try to contact them, as you saw with Mary Ann, you know, the responses we get are less than favorable as to what's actually going on. So all we can do is watch to see if any permits are filed, see if any plans are submitted to planning, check with the supervisor, see if they've had any contact. Because the same thing we tell every person that comes here is that if you're coming to Susquehanna County, the first thing you need to do is meet with a municipality and have a public meeting and let them know what's going on. Well, most of these companies don't. There was one 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, I found out was surveying, a company was surveying up by the Welcome Center in a big field. And they were talking to homeowners, trying to buy their homes, trying to do all kinds of stuff. We had no idea who they weren't letting anybody know. We kept trying to investigate. Finally, and the only way I knew was because one of the homeowners there called me and said, hey, what's going on? I said, I haven't heard of anything. So luckily, that homeowner called me back last week and said they've decided there's too much of a floodplain, they're leaving, they're not going to do anything. And we've had another one, which was Gulf Oil, that was 3 years ago that I found out about, was on Route 7. They were looking to put an LNG plant in, and the only way we found out about that was by the property owners saying, hey, you know, we just got a big bag of money, they took options on the land, they're giving us money each month for our house and everything. But as far as we know, and I've checked with the property owners, nothing's happened, and they haven't bought the houses, and their options run out at the end of this year. So the big thing for us is that if people get factual information, to get that to us, because there's so much non-factual information right now, it's hard to sift through, and you end up chasing one end to try and figure out what's going on, and then something slides through on the other side. So if we can get factual information, we can keep tracking. That's the information. Now, we do know at this point, and I did check again first thing this morning, that land is not sold in the MLS, sir.
So it's not closed?
It's
Hasn't
not
closed yet?
closed, it's only
So
pending.
It's only pending in contract?
It's in contract.
And how many parcels, and are all the parcels not closed?
All the parcels are not closed, and I think there's like four parcels or
Maybe
five.
four or five parcels?
Right, so it doesn't show closed. Now, knowing a little bit about real estate, I can't imagine this company is just gonna come buy the land without having contingencies, saying, I'm not gonna spend $1 million or $2 million on land if I can't get my permits, get my sewer system, get my stormwater system. Because that's one of the issues when we looked at that land over there. The only side that had any potential value that we saw was on Mr. Oakley's side where his blueberry farm is, because that's the only side that has a sewer system. Unfortunately, we found out the sewer system's maxed out, they can't do anything with it, and the discharge from the sewer system goes into the creek that goes down to Oliver Road, and that's already maxed out, it can't handle any more storm runoff or sewage. So basically, it looked like undevelopable land to us on that side, even though, they're still trying to put some shops in over there. The other side, the problem we saw with the other side, and actually, the owner of that property came and asked the county if we'd be interested in buying it. We said, it's got no value to it. There's no place to put a sewer system in because there's no place for discharge. You've got to have a creek or someplace to run the discharge from the sewer. And the same, wait a minute. And the same with the storm runoff. And the storm runoff has become a bigger issue with DEP now than ever before.
Right.
Because,
Pesticides, I understand.
so just picture the side of that mountain. You blacktop the whole side of that mountain, you get an inch of rain, what's gonna happen? That's a huge
So we're gonna
issue.
go in the creek.
Well, there's no creek there.
Well.
It'll go out on 81.
81, yeah, it's going to
There's no creek on that side of the road. No.
Like the,
You'd have to go up over the mountain
Yeah,
to
over the
Creek
hill.
Road.
Yeah,
And if you go to Creek Road, that creek is so small, you couldn't send that much water there either.
right, that's what I meant.
So, that's why we think, all right, nothing's ever gonna happen there, that's kind of a dead site, nothing's gonna happen. So, but again, like I said, the issues we have is, people don't come to us and disclose what they're trying to do, or even when they come.
Right.
We have heard some good things, like we've read on Facebook that Summit Inn is opening up today.
That was good.
They're reopening, gonna have, fresh fish and fish buffet on Friday
That's where we should have
night.
our next meeting, okay.
And then, well, let me finish,
And it's a local couple.
I've also heard through the grapevine, I can't confirm it, it's only a rumor at this point, that some company's looking at putting some kind of recreational thing out in Oakland Township. And also that there's a new bakery going in Forest City, but I haven't been able to confirm
Nice, we'll
that.
have to have some cake from there.
So that's what we know. This is what we hear, but we only get our information by when permits get
Right.
filed, or if somebody calls and tells us somebody's snooping around the land.
Okay, well, I think that goes back to my point that if there's any way we could prevent something harmful coming into the area, because we're here now, but we'll have children that have children, and we want to preserve the environment for them as
Right.
well. So if we could put together some kind of ordinance or whatever at this point. And the second question I have is with Mr. Brickley. Have you heard from him and how the ordinance is going, and what's the latest on that?
No, that would be, we're not in contact with Mr. Brickley on that.
Okay.
Is that a question?
Yes, I do. Petition was presented to you, but what I'd like to know is, do you have the authority to put in a clean air ordinance?
Well, that's one thing that we've had some discussion about. The clean air ordinance, depending on what it states, will depend on whether it's something that can be put in. Now, passing an ordinance isn't the issue, but the enforcing of it, monitoring of it, and managing it is a whole different thing. Now, our comprehensive plan that we did, that we're in the process of getting ready to update, our comprehensive plan, when we did the survey, said that nobody wanted countywide ordinances or countywide planning. They wanted it all left to the municipalities to handle. So as we start through the next round of the comprehensive plan, we'll see what the township supervisors say in their surveys and the public says in their surveys to see what the public wants.
Okay, so you're, how long is that going to take? Because now you're saying it's in the comprehensive plan. So do you have to do you have to redo and update the comprehensive plan before you would consider putting an ordinance in place?
No, not technically we'd have to do that, but if we're following our current comprehensive plan, our current comprehensive plan says that we're not supposed to be doing it at the county level. And actually, the state recommends that we don't do zoning and ordinances at the county level, that they're done at the local municipal levels.
So in a situation like this, even though they recommend that you don't, when you see that the amount of people in the community do not want something like this, is it not your responsibility to protect us, to actually look into putting a clean air ordinance in and putting it in place? Because this has been going on for quite a while now. I know that, some of you were at the original meeting that I went to weeks ago. So I'm wondering, at that point, have any of the commissioners looked into the possibility of putting a clean air ordinance in place? Because we were told it was up to the township, so there was a little bit of confusion there. So I'd like to know, do you have the authority to do it? Are you planning on doing it, and have you looked into it at this point? I would have thought you should have had a conversation with your solicitor at this point.
Well, we have had a conversation with the solicitor, and the solicitor is continuing to review it. The problem with an air ordinance is determining, how strict you want to make it and what it does affect and what it doesn't affect. And at the same time, not putting the county in a position that when you try to pass an ordinance, that it doesn't get the county in a major lawsuit for damages as well as for legal fees. So that's one thing that they are looking at.
Do the nearby compressor stations along 81, one on Sutton Road, one that you can see from 81, are they also within the New Milford Township?
Yeah, they are.
One on Sutton Road, I believe, is in New Milford Township.
And the one on 81 is New Milford Township.
Right.
There's 4 in New Milford
Right.
Township, 12 engine stations that are emitting toxic emissions
And there was
every
just
hour.
and how we find out about things again is through the permitting process. That went to the planning commission, but we also I just saw a permit application that went to DEP for Herrick Township for an IMG station with 3 gas generators to generate electricity burning natural gas. So there'll be more stuff with that.
And that's a power plant.
Right.
So there's talk of the municipalities and townships adopting zoning?
Well, there are several that already have, and that's the other issue. In this county, because we've elected the townships and the municipalities, that's how they want to do it. There are several municipalities and townships, like Herrick Township, that have their own planning and their own ordinances and do all of that.
Yeah, but does anybody have air? Does anybody have an air ordinance in any of those zoning that I know of?
Okay,
Do you?
we would have to ask Herrick Township. I don't know. I think they follow the DEP and EPA ordinances. Yes.
My name is Donna Benjamin, and I'm going to read my comment because I'm really bad at on-the-spot stuff. I'm from Halstead Borough and a lifelong resident of Susquehanna County.
I can even trace my family tree back to the 9 partners that established our area. Today, we are facing challenges as a county as we try to balance between new economic development and the health and safety of our people. When I first heard the idea of an incinerator being built in New Milford Township, I thought I must have misunderstood, and they had stopped building those years ago. As I did more research and discovered that our county truly was considering establishing an incinerator, I did a bit more research to see perhaps if new technologies had allowed for a safe means of burning waste. There have been some considerable jumps in technology since the 1970s, but not enough that these facilities would be considered safe. Incinerators still contribute to air pollution, are not cost efficient, have an unacceptable risk to public health, and bring about economic depression to the areas that they are located. All things that I would hope our commissioners would be against. There have been leaps and bounds in technologies used for incinerators over the past 40 years, but they still cause unwanted pollution. According to the New York Department of Conservation, incinerators emit 14 times more mercury as coal-fired power plants. Modern pollution control devices do not prevent the escape of many hazardous emissions such as ultrafine filters. But I don't simply mean they are contributing to the giant hole in the ozone that is often used as a scare tactic. Rather, they have immediate effects on the surrounding areas. Dioxins are the most lethal persistent organic pollutants, also called POPs. People within a 50-mile radius will be exposed to these POPs through breathing, eating locally grown food, or even by going hunting and fishing, all of which are extremely common in our area. Dairy farms in particular have already struggled here. When companies find out that these farms are located next to an incinerator, they will be losing their buyers, and then how are we supposed to keep the family dairy going for future generations? Then, there are several businesses and restaurants within view that would lose their niche as people have no desire to sit and eat dinner while looking out the window at such a monstrosity. And can you blame them? These POPs cause neurological damage, cancer, disrupt the reproductive systems of both men and women, birth defects, thyroid damage, heart attacks, respiratory malfunctions, and the list goes on and on. I believe that we have already have enough of these type of issues in our county. The argument is often used that we need these jobs that the incinerator would be able to provide, but they have actually been proven to not be cost effective, and jobs can be created through other industries. Taxpayer dollars have been subsidizing construction and operation of incinerators by the billions. In 2011, Harrisburg became one of the largest cities to declare bankruptcy, and it was due to the insane amount of debt they incurred trying to keep the city's incinerator going, even while increasing taxes to help cover the fees. Yet, for a fraction of the cost, they could have instead implemented reuse and remanufacturing programs and created even more jobs than the incinerator offered. These economic downfalls continue into the private sector, where property values are plummeting and are 38% lower than the national average. For me, though, the most important reason is I have 4 sons that I am raising in this county. I want a future for them. I am very excited that an industrial park may be coming to our county so that I know my boys can stay here and be able to make a living, but not at the risk of their health. There are countless industrial parks across the state and country that do not include an incinerator and have viable work opportunities. I am tired of our county being treated like a third world country where it doesn't matter what happens to its citizens. We need to be able to step up and say that we deserve better. I respectfully ask that the county commissioners do all within their power to help put an end to this absurdity and put its people first, including writing a clean air ordinance that would require the county to constantly monitor air quality and enforce strict consequences for any and all violations, to further increase economic growth through proven methods rather than do business in an industry that has been proven disastrous not only to people's health but to their pocketbooks as well.
Thank you.
First of all, the environmental friendly phrase that you used, we all know that this incinerator is not going to be environmentally friendly. That's why we don't want it. My second question to you is that you knew of this in April?
Beginning of April, and that's when we started talking about it.
Okay. As far as the public and everyone that I've been talking to, we didn't know about this till way after April. That's why we have formed these groups. That's why we're snowballing it. That's why we're contacting everyone that we know, because we do not want the incinerator. From April, when you found out about it, until when the public found out about it, there was a big gap there. We don't understand why it wasn't given to the public to know this in April. So, that's what I want to say.
Well, and actually, it was talked about in April. It was talked about at planning commissions, talked about it at the public economic development meetings. And Vera, who goes and watches all these other meetings, talked about it at the commissioners meeting.
Okay.
But I didn't go to the planning commission meeting or the
But you got the information.
economic thing in April, so I didn't hear about it in April, and I went here and heard about it. And most people do not go to those two meetings. They're mostly hardly attended by the public. This is the most attended is the county commissioners
Right.
meeting. So we would never find out
Well,
what's going on in those two meetings.
Most that attend the county commissioners meeting on a regular basis is usually 6 to 8 people, and I understand it. And I realize the problem with that is because of the timing of the meetings. But again, that's done by legislation. So as we do get information, and if it becomes viable information, we start talking about and let people know what's going on. But there are a lot of people that come through this county that either contact planning or myself or one of the commissioners or the solicitor and say, hey, you know, what do we have to do to if we want to start a business in this county? They don't make any commitments to us, and most of those people never even come back.
Now, Marianne, when you spoke to Tom Donato, did he admit, did you talk on the phone?
Yes.
Okay, did he admit on this recent call that this is going to be an incinerator? Did he say anything
No.
about the word incinerator
No,
to you?
nothing at all.
And why not? Did you ask him, are you bringing in an incinerator?
I did the first time around. He told
Which was
me
when? First time around is what date?
was June 27th.
June 27.
And he said that there was 114 acres that they were committed to purchasing, and that they were looking to build out 60 to 70 of those acres within industry.
So when you talk to him and you hear somebody say to you, I'm gonna build out 60 to 70 acres on 114, you didn't think to ask, well, what are you gonna do with that 60 to 70?
No, it's not that I didn't think to ask.
So then why didn't you ask?
I didn't say I didn't ask.
So then why don't you know what he's gonna do with 60, 70
The
acres when he's
first
talking
time
to you?
around, he said that they were looking into, they did not say that they were going to put an incinerator. They said they were looking into, and they went to DEP and were going to fill out the questionnaire. They didn't know, they did not know enough about Pennsylvania to be putting an incinerator in, and that's why they had the conversation with. The other 60 to 70 acres was to build out with industry, businesses. I asked if it had anything to do with the incinerator, and he said no. I see, he did say that the incinerator that they were looking into, when I did ask about an incinerator, he said that there were 2 or 3 in Ohio and 2 in Texas that were, I guess could be compared to what they were looking into.
The East Liverpool, Ohio?
I don't know. 2 or 3 in Ohio and 2 in Texas. And the conversation was very short. Like I said, he called me back on Monday after I wrote on their website one more time and expressed my,
Monday is what date? June what? Or is it July?
July.
July what?
July 11th, maybe?
July 11th?
Why don't you see if you can email him again and ask him what the names of the plants are in Ohio and Texas, and try and get that.
No, the thing is, you already know, they've already admitted it's an incinerator that they're thinking about. This is not, rocket science. They've already admitted it. So you are prepared. You don't wait for permits. You don't wait for applications. It's too late then. You do something now and put in an air ordinance for the county and encourage all the municipalities to put an air ordinance so you are prepared. They're giving you notice. You do what you can because it's not only that business, there will be other businesses coming in that can emit toxins. So you do it now. You don't wait You don't futz around, you don't tell other people where to go or what to think about. You've been given notice, you know enough.
Thank you,
Please do
Vera.
it now.
Any other comments, Julie?
Julianne Skinner, Montrose Borough. First of all, I think everyone should take note, look at all the homes for sale just in the borough. So once this incinerator comes in, like has been mentioned, we might have trouble selling our property and be doomed here. So we are, to quote Donna, we are treated like a third world country. I mean, if you look at FERC, we don't count because of the population density. There is no tracking the gathering lines. That's one instance. The other instance, we are already in serious trouble with the air quality with respect to the 44 compressor stations that are here. So why would we want to add more to the public health threat? This health consultation is real. It was done on April 22nd of 2016 from Agency on Toxic Substance and Disease Registry. So it's been documented, and we can go to every other compressor station and find it here because a group of concerned citizens were smart enough and went and got grant money to get these monitors. So we can do something, and you can enforce it as well. And we should, please, we're begging you, to consider the ordinance. And by the fact that they are not forthcoming, it's insulting to you that they do that and treat you like that.
Right. I agree. Definitely.
I just want to comment, in the interest of full disclosure and for the benefit of those who find it inconvenient to come to these meetings every 2 weeks, the Montrose Independent did feature talk about this incinerator back in May. So it was out in the public very shortly after you guys learned about it. So it wasn't being hidden. It was front page, big headline. It was not hidden information. It was right out there. If people didn't buy the paper or see the paper, that's not really the paper's fault or your fault.
Yes.
What mechanism is in place so that the dissemination of information can be exchanged between county commissioner meetings? The information can be disseminated between the county commissioners and the residents and the county commissioner.
Well, it's in the papers,
Well,
as well as it's on our webpage.
I'm sorry, that's not sufficient, you know that. That's not sufficient.
Can you put on the webpage?
What mechanism can be put in place to improve, let's
Okay,
improve
you gotta let
that.
me, if you ask me a question, you gotta let me answer.
Let's improve that.
Okay, we have improved it. All our minutes are broadcast on our webpage. So you can go to our webpage and watch the entire meeting on our webpage and get all the information.
I don't think it's enough of a coordinated effort.
And what about updates?
Respectfully.
Besides meetings, you need to put stuff on the webpage. What updates? What do you learn? What do you know? What are you doing? Especially about this issue. It should be on the webpage so we can read it.
We just told you everything that we knew, and Mary Ann just told you she doesn't know anything.
She just told us a number of things. I wouldn't say she doesn't know anything. She just told us she talked to Tom Donato, and there was discussion about incinerator, that they want to develop the land, and that the property hasn't closed yet. We are learning something. So you already know something. That means you gotta go quick and do something to protect us, protect the people, which is your job, which is listed as your job title.
Thank you. Question?
Yeah, can Mary Ann let them know about the opposition from the community?
I think she already
I
has.
did, that was part of my conversation the first time, because when I talked to them, I said that you would still continue the process of purchasing the property with the major opposition from our residents in the county, and they said absolutely. So,
with that said, I just want to recap here. It seems to me that what you're saying is that you have an opportunity to pass a Clean Air Ordinance Act within the county that would encompass all the municipalities within the 50-mile range.
Right.
Okay, so if we were to go to our local meetings and townships and boroughs and cities that we reside in and get them to pass a resolution supporting a Clean Air Act sponsored by the county, ordinance on that level, that would in fact protect all of us,
Well,
correct?
the question becomes as to what the ordinance says, what's legal, what's enforceable, and what you can stand behind. And that's
Okay.
what has to be determined.
And the solicitor's looking into that right now.
And that's what we're looking
Brickell
at.
could do that. He's doing that also. Brickell is looking into that, and he's working on New Milford
Yes.
Township.
I have a question. When you were discussing the water and so forth not being sufficient for new businesses to come in and so forth, was my understanding that this incinerator will require a lot of water for the process itself.
Okay,
It
but
uses
we don't,
steam.
okay, again, so I'm gonna try and deal in facts. We have nothing that tells us if they're even gonna use water or use water at the site. So, I mean.
Incinerators usually use that, don't they?
Well,
For-
it depends,
for
you know, there's
emission?
many different kinds of incinerators, depending on what their propellant is as far as fuel and what they're doing. You know, again, we don't know, but the assumption would be that they would need water, and there is no water there.
Based on assumption that they would, besides what they would disperse in the air, what would they do with the toxic water afterwards, and where would they get the water from?
Well, that's why we said,
You know?
part of that area, when we looked at it, is not conducive because there is no water there.
Right.
There is no sewage there.
No.
There's no creeks to get rid of the storm water or the sewage.
It's really, yeah.
So.
So why would they
so-
purchase it then?
Well, I don't know,
They
that's
must
a good
have
question.
consultants, you know they must have consultants, they spend
Well,
all kinds of big
okay,
money.
wait a minute, Vera.
They must,
Okay.
to check out property
Vera,
before you
please
go into
stop.
contract.
You don't get to just start talking in the meeting.
Okay.
You know that. I am sure that if they're gonna invest millions of dollars into this property and buying it, that they have all kinds of contingencies in their sales contract that says if they can't get fresh water, if they can't get sewage issues taken care of, if they can't get stormwater issues taken care of, that it's gonna give them the ability to get out of the contract and not purchase the land. Now, I've not seen the sales contract, and I'm sure that they will not let me see the sales contract. I'd love to see the sales contract, but again, I'm sure that I would not think that investors that were gonna spend, you know, $100 million on a site would go in and put themselves in a position to buy it with not being sure that they could get all the stuff in place before they actually bought it.
Okay, thank you.
Has the county been in touch with DEP about the process? Or they
We've been in
monitor
touch
our-
enough to ask if they've
In communications.
Right,
with
been in
DEP.
touch with them enough to find out if there's been anything filed or any applications or anything like that, and the answer was no.
Since if they might need water, can they enforce, once they purchase it, can they enforce the county to pay for the water, you know, for a water system to be put in, like a sewage system?
No, no,
You
no.
don't think so?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know.
You can't put a sewage plant, other industries put sewage plants in.
No, that's the question she asked me, is if the county could be forced to put in a sewer
Oh, county
plant.
can't, but they can do it. They
But
can,
again, where are you gonna send the runoff?
they can also truck it out. They don't have to just send
Where are
it
you
to the
gonna?
creek.
Okay, but again, where are you gonna run, what are you gonna do with all the stormwater?
What does the industry, gas industry do with all their residual waste? They truck it out.
You-
No, you're talking about two different things. Stormwater is different than waste.
So then you truck that out too, can't you just truck that
No,
out?
you can't.
And I'm sure they did enough consultants, you're not gonna go into contract without knowing exactly that you can do it. You're not gonna invest.
There's several, listen, I just told you about the one Gulf did 3 years ago, and they've got nothing. They've been paying these people money on the houses for the last 3 years.
They're not being forthcoming with our representatives. They're not telling you very much.
Exactly. Any other comment? Yes.
Simply that I think time is of essence,
Yes.
because once it's in, it's hard to fight. When we have a even playing field with an ordinance that everyone is required to face, a good solid ordinance that's defensible, as you mentioned, we're in better shape. And as stringent as we can be to protect our people.
So, I agree with her, and I want to know, like, maybe how you can help us or tell us, like, if there's any, we can have a timeline or something, since this is of ultimate importance. that we know when one could be formed, or? we
Well,
need
I
some
don't know.
kind of
All I
timeline.
can tell you is I'll respond at the next meeting based on information I get back from the solicitors and that information. And
And
share
that's
that.
2 weeks from now.
Mhm.
What
2
time
weeks
is
that
that?
are vital for this issue. So we
Same
need
time?
to know on the website what you're doing.
Any other questions or comments?
I just have a comment that on Tyler Corner's website, they do have at the end of the, their information, a comment section. So we can all put our comments in that Tyler Corners.
I did, I put comments, others put, we get no response. Mary Ann is the only one I
But
know who
Vera,
got a response.
that's not what
None of
I'm,
us
that's
got
not what
it.
I'm saying, that we're gonna get responses. It's not, I don't think it's a give and take kind of thing for them. I think if we all go to their website and put our opinion of how we feel about it, the more responses they get, they're not gonna like what they see and what they hear.
That's good.
Can I interject? What's the website address?
www.tylercorners.com, I'm pretty sure. Is that it?
Yes.
I'm Frank Finnan from Lincoln Township. Will the commissioners do everything they can to help stop this incinerator?
Commissioners will do what they can legally and what they can according to statute, to take and review the situation and do what can be done.
Would it be out of the question to try to get an ordinance either through the county or townships of a height ordinance?
A height ordinance?
That would,
Well, you gotta remember, as I said, the issue with ordinances, you've gotta be careful what you write, because not only will it affect what's coming in, it affects everything that's here too.
would you want anything that's gonna be 300 feet?
There's no such thing as, you can't grandfather people.
Can we put easements, maybe from water wells, from roads?
No,
from
just taking
restaurants?
the height of the tallest silo, or this building here, make that the limit. Because these towers, these stacks are gonna be very.
Well, then they would just engineer a stack that was 10 feet high and put fans in it to blow it out. I mean,
1 foot lower than required.
right, so, it just, again, that's what I said about ordinances and about regulations. You've got to make sure that they're written so that, when you put that regulation out there, it's going to be effective. And it's like trying to do something too soon. If something comes out too soon and they're doing something totally different, then everything we just did doesn't work. And then if we try to do something because of that, because it's different than what we anticipated, then they get to say, well, now you're taking and being discriminatory because now you're changing it just to take and focus on us. So, timing is everything, as all of you agree, but doing something too quick is also bad also.
But in general, can we ask you that you are against the incinerator, all three of you?
What's that?
Are all three of you, are you against the incinerator in general?
My public comment as a commissioner my comment as public commissioner is that I'm neutral.
And what about the other two? Mary Ann, are you for the incinerator, against it, or neutral?
I'm gonna have to say I'm neutral in speaking to our solicitor and what I have to say publicly.
And you, Betsy, are you neutral for the incinerator or against it?
I'm gonna agree with them on the neutral, and we're listening to the people.
Any other
Are you
public
not
comment?
allowed to say you're against it? Or can you be sued for that?
There you go, you'll learn.
I was talking to the Tyler family, and they just asked me to let everyone know that even though Tyler Corners is named after their family, they have nothing to do with it, and they were just as surprised as everyone else, and they didn't want people thinking it had anything to do with them.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I got a question.
Yes.
What is our county's solicitor's name?
Michael Jean Greco.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to ask on another topic, how you're doing with the water line to South Montrose to the jail, since Diaz is no longer an industrial park. He's going to do, from what I understand, Diaz pulled out. Is that correct?
That is correct. The water line is still moving forward. We actually have been in contact with Harrisburg. Harrisburg is still funding part of the project, even though that industry is not going there. The site has been made shovel-ready for any business, and my understanding at this point, there is ongoing negotiations with the property owner as far as trying to bring other businesses in there.
So right now, there's nothing definite as far as the industrial park. And you're bringing water to that specific
Now, we're
property?
bringing water specifically to the jail and to a couple of the businesses that are on that street.
That are on that street?
And that was the whole focus of this from day one, was to get water to the jail because of the issue we have with water at the jail.
Okay, and I just want to again plead for the Dimick families who are suffering since 2008 with no water. If you can please consider with the impact money, which is impact money from gas drilling, verified by the DEP, that they please get a water line. They've been suffering since 2008. We have a whole group of families. And would you consider that? And I want to put that out on the table again, to plead for them that they need this with our impact money, which we have millions. What's the balance in the account right now from the impact money?
Probably about $8 million.
And that's with the new check for this year?
That includes this year's check.
Thank you.
All right, I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye, we are adjourned.
Thank you, it's not personal.
Never personal.
You really should deliver your newspaper.